In this video, we're going to be chatting through the history of recessive and how this piece came to life. So even though I am a 3D artist and I don't think in terms of drawings or 2D sort of visuals, I'll often scratch out very unsophisticatedly what I think I want to create. And as you can see in these images, it's pretty rough, but what I'm trying to get myself to think through is conceptually what parts of the piece are really important to me. So in this example, what's really important to me is to capture sort of the Rorschach images that you see on the screen. I really want to infuse that into what she looks like and sort of her face and have that be reflective of her expression. And then you can see in the bottom left there, I have a superimposed image of sort of some oil clay. So frequently my process is I'll draw it up, I'll try to capture the things that I think are most important and combine the different elements that are most important, and then I'll mock it up in oil clay. Oil clay is a really fun medium. It's adjacent to ceramic clay, but what's nice about it is something you can do any time of year, so you don't have to be in a warmer climate, and it allows me to really mock things up in sort of a miniature size to see how I think the elements are going to play together. And once I feel like I have the concept pretty dialed, then I do go into sort of a larger size and try to figure out what's the full size that I want this to be. So frequently things will change over time, and as I start to manipulate the clay manually, I'll find things that I like and don't like, and I'll try to think through some of the more tactical things related to oil clay sculpture, which is you have to make a mold of an oil clay sculpture. So when I start building and there are undercuts or there are different elements like that, I have to be thinking ahead to how would I make a mold of this. And so a lot of it is just trying to finesse the vision that I had in my head and on the paper, and try to start to really bring that to life. And as you do that, you'll find that frequently elements that you thought were going to work, or maybe the base you thought was going to work, just doesn't look right. So as you can see, you end up finessing through a number of different stages or versions of the piece before you land on one you really. So that first version was more of a bas-relief style where I thought it might hang on a wall, but it didn't feel like it was coming to life enough. So in the second version, I'm thinking, okay, how would I get this to sort of interplay with the environment more and stand and be a standalone sculpture? I'm also playing with the facial expression. It's pretty rough, but I'm trying to think, how do I infuse that sort of Rorschach inkblot image with someone's face? And you can see that it starts out pretty rough. It starts out pretty childish and cartoonish. So frequently what I'll do is if I feel like I'm down and a little bit not capturing the essence, I'll go back to basics, which for me is always the face. You know, to me, faces speak the most in art, and it is what really draws your attention as a human being. So I'll go back to basics and just start with a face, and let's kind of, let my mind ruminate on that and then infuse more of the concepts that I want to get to from that face perspective. And I can always tell when I'm finally starting to capture and things are really starting to flow, because at a certain point you're just off to the races. So in this image, you can see that I've got pretty much a great outline of all the elements that I want. I'm still finessing her face. That left eye has no definition yet, but I love the way she's looking at the viewer. I love the way that she's sort of taunting you. And there are the elements of the Rorschach that kind of encourage you to go around the piece and circle the piece. And so I'm really starting to get close to what I want. And these are final images. So this is showing you sort of the different viewpoints of the finished piece right before I went to cast. I love that it's a little creepy and it looks a little bit like, some sort of amorphous organism. I love her expression. I love that she's taunting you and encouraging you to try and look her in the eye, try and come find her. And I didn't take any pictures of the back. I'll have to show the back in the finished state, but I love the creepiness and sort of infused elements of this. And hopefully it was interesting to see how that evolves over time, and how the artistic process is very much iterate, change, pivot, until you find something that you're like, this just feels right in capturing what I want to capture.